Hey guys, guess what? I did it! I went to the USA all by myself and I came back and I'm still alive. And that's like a huge achievement for someone like me. If you follow me, then you probably know how hard it was for me to do something like that all by myself when I'm not healthy. And I feel like I kind of won my disability. I broke my limits, I did the impossible, and I survived it. And it was actually huge fun. I had so much fun. It was probably the most fun adventure I've ever had in my whole life. Um, and that's not really hard because I didn't have many fun things in my life, but that's still pretty amazing for someone like me. So, in this video, I'm gonna share my adventures and how it was for me, and after that I'm gonna show you guys a lot of pictures and videos that I took during the time I was there. I will not show the panels because I uploaded those as separate videos, so if you want to watch the panels, I have them all on my channel, so you can check that out. It's not the best recording because I had to like replace batteries and such in the middle, but I think it's pretty decent. And okay, so I was terrified over doing this, and um I think as soon as I arrived at the airport I kind of felt like like, hey, it's not that hard. And then I hopped onto the first plane and it was terrible. So I'm gonna show you a picture of the first plane. That's it. This plane is called Airbus 319. It's probably one of the most terrible planes I've ever been on. It's like so uncomfortable, so tiny, no space for your legs. You're kind of squished, and this is probably pretty hard for a normal person. This is the same plane I had on my flight to London, and I don't know how much I shared this because it wasn't really related to Toontown, but on my flight to London I really suffered from this plane. So imagine my feeling when I saw that it's the same plane. So this is the plane that took me from Israel to Madrid, and I figured that after about 3 hours in a plane, that's when I feel like I start losing the air. Like I don't have enough oxygen and I'm not breathing well. So this first flight was about 6 hours, and after 3 hours I was not really breathing. So it was like really hard for me to survive it. And after that I had a break on Madrid to like kind of get some air and recover. Thankfully the Burger King at the Madrid airport had French fries that are vegan. So I went to buy some because obviously the food in the plane is terrible. I did have a vegetarian meal, but it was still terrible and ew, and like I didn't eat anything on any of the planes. um they had like this yellow rice in all of them and it's so disgusting. Like what? So I was buying myself food at the Madrid airport, and I think that's when I had the first culture shock because I assumed that I'm gonna get Coca-Cola in a can because I thought that like in airports they just give it in cans. So I asked for a large French fries and Coca-Cola, and this is what I've got. Now, I don't know if you can see in the picture, but this Coca-Cola is like gigantic. I don't think the picture explains it well, but I was like, whoa, why is it so big? It felt like it was like 1 liter or something. And obviously, I could not even finish like half of it. Like, I only took like a few sips and that's it. And this is in Spain. So imagine when I actually got to the USA. So then I took the second flight. It was the most terrible one ever because after 3 hours, once again, I could not breathe. And I looked and it still had like 6 to 7 more hours to go. And there is no escape. And I'm stuck in the plane and I'm not breathing. And every hour it gets worse and worse. And I was asking them if they have any way to get extra oxygen or something, and they said no, there is nothing they can do because the only oxygen masks are for emergencies, so they can't actually open it. And then I started to panic and I started to cry, and it was terrible. I didn't manage to get any sleep. I hated the food. Um, but eventually, I don't know how, I made it to Chicago. I was half dead at this point. And the first thing you do when you arrive to the US is that you have to go in a really, really, really long line where they check you. So imagine after after suffering for so much in a flight, I could not even sit anywhere because I had to stand in a gigantic line. I have a picture of this line. Let me see if I can add it. It doesn't really show it doesn't show everything, but I think it shows kinda at least some of it. And this line took like a few hours. Okay, you see this? This is like it took a few hours to actually get. I think I spent like at least 1 hour standing after the terrible flight that I had. So imagine me being half dead, having to stand all of this. And then when it gets into your turn, you have to they ask you some really weird questions in order to enter. And they want to know like all of the tiny details, like why are you coming, how long are you going to stay, what is the address of the hotel, who are you going to meet. And I'm like, I'm gonna meet my friends. Where did you meet your friends? On the internet. Where on the internet? In a game. What game? Toontown. And then he was like, Toontown, is that like from Roger Rabbit? And I'm like, yeah, it's a game based on Roger Rabbit. And he was like, oh, really? And then he lets me in. And next step is another giant line where they check your uh when they check you. So the second line, I don't have a picture of it, but it was also pretty big. Though at least it went faster because the first one it was like one person every 5 minutes. But the second one went kind of faster. On the second one you have to put on your things, which is pretty normal, but then you have to take off your shoes and let them check your shoes, and then you have to like pull your hands up and stand in some really weird and awkward position where they scan your whole body, and then you can enter finally. So after all of this, I finally entered to the airport and I met Ziggy from the team, which was the first staff member I met. It was so it was kind of awkward because Because it's like it's finally the real person, you know? Like I know them for years, but I've never actually seen them in real life. And then suddenly he was like standing right next to me and he looked so relaxed. And I was all stressed and he was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, sure." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm in America," you know? Um, so after that, we had to take the most tiny plane ever. Like, I've never been in such a tiny plane. Let me see if I can add the picture for that. And this one, I could not breathe at all. In this one, like before the flight even started, I felt like I'm not breathing, so I just closed my eyes during the whole flight. But thankfully, it was a really short flight. So, like, I closed my eyes, I waited a bit. This is, as you can see, it's smaller than a bus. It's the most tiny plane ever. Um, but at least the flight was very short. So I just closed my eyes for like an hour and it ended. And then we were at the Evansville airport and suddenly I see like we were going to take our baggage and suddenly I see people waving in front of me and like it was Jacob and Adam and York and I was not expecting to see them at that point. Like I thought they were going to meet us at the end, but they were suddenly in front of me, and that was like a huge surprise. And I was like, "What? Is that really them?" And I think Adam and York, I didn't really see them much before. York, I didn't see at all, so I didn't even know that was her. But Jacob is someone that I've seen a lot of pictures of him. So finally seeing the right person, it was like it was like watching a picture, you know. I didn't really realize that this is the real thing. And then he took us to the hotel. It was really late at the night. Most of the staff were already sleeping, but a few of them were still awake, waiting for us. And then I think I've met we were like looking for a room and then suddenly someone opened the door and suddenly it was Scoots coming out of the door and he looked just like in the pictures. And I remember being like, whoa, they're like real people. And then I saw John, which is Super Scooter. I had no idea who he was at first because I've never seen a picture of him. But then Joey came and Joey looks exactly like the pictures. And I think that was like one of the most shocking parts. Like actually seeing him for real. And then a few more people came, like Sam, which is CFS works. And I was so shocked at this point. I didn't even realize what's going on. And we were like 5 people in our room. I shared a room with Scoots, John, York, and Ziggy. So we were 5 people, and only 4 bed spots. So John ended up sleeping at a couch, and I remember feeling really really bad for that. So on the second day, I realized we can't get another bed for him, so I kind of hucked up a bed on the second night, and I have a picture of that. It was like a few blankets and a sheet above it and a pillow and something you can use as a blanket. And this was like some hacked up solution because I felt really bad of him not having anything to sleep on. So uh yeah. So first morning we went to set up the convention. Oh wait, before the first morning I had to take a shower And I'm telling you that because the showers in the US, okay, this is how it is. The faucet is not mobile. And that shocked me because you can't control where the water will go. And I don't know how to take a shower like that. I never used one that wasn't mobile. So I remember being like, get into the shower, and then I was like, what do I do right now? Like, how do you even shower like that? And that was like a culture shock for me. It's like the tiny things that you don't expect it to be different, but it actually is. And I remember thinking like, what the, like, what? How do you guys take a shower like that? Like, how do you make sure that the water get everywhere if you can't even control it? So the first shower, I was like, I think all over the place there was just water splashing because I had no idea what to do. But I think I got a bit better on the next days. So like I kind of got used to it and found some creative solutions. So the first day we went to the convention, I finally met the rest of the staff members, and it was pretty amazing. Um, I can't really explain to you how I felt. It was like I'm still watching the screen, like I'm not actually there. And then people started asking for pictures, like, hey, can I take a picture of you? Can I take a selfie with you? And first I was like, no, no way. But then, like, people kept asking, and at some point, it was like, I felt too bad saying no to some people, so I was like, okay, but just don't show it to me because I figured if they take pictures but they don't show me the picture, then I can kind of live with it because I don't get the shock of looking at my picture. But if they showed me the picture, then I kind of forced them to delete it. So I was like going for safe, just take the picture but don't show it. And I was also like, don't post it anywhere in the beginning, but eventually I realized I can't escape from people posting it. So, like today, I woke up and found pictures of me on the main website, like on a blog post. And now everyone who enters our site can see that picture, and it's an awful picture. It's actually two pictures, one is from the back. And it looks so terrible. It looks so terrible. I wish it wasn't there. I told Joey, do not put it on places where I can see it, but I guess one of them was like the main staff picture, so obviously I was going to post it, so there is no escape from that. But it was so terrible. I had to cover the screen when I was reading the post. Um, so next big thing is that we were going, I was going with Luke and Nicole to pick up Boo Boo and her boyfriend. And then we went to eat lunch. So I think meeting Boo Boo, she was probably one of the most close people to me on the staff members. So that was like an highlight. And I remember we knocked on her hotel room door, and then she kind of opened it, but not fully, so I could not actually see her. And she was like, "Are you ready?" And then she counted, and I knew she's going to give me like a huge hug. But when she opened the door, next thing I know is that I am choking out of a hug. It was like a huge hug. I did not expect to like not being able to breathe during the hug. And like I could not even see her because everything was so fast. And it was like, is that actually Boo Boo hugging me right now? And I could not even think because I could not breathe. And it was like a really weird moment. But then she was like, after the hug, I could actually see her, and it was like, whoa, that's the real Roxana. Like, I'm actually standing next to her. This is so cool. She's like a real person right now. She's all 3D. Um, and then we went to a restaurant together, and that was next culture shock because you get like, okay, you get a giant glass of Coca-Cola, and then when you drink it, they refill it for you for free. And that's, I was like, whoa, because in Israel, the glass you get is like half of the size. It costs you about double the price, and there is no free refill because nothing is free in Israel. So it was so shocking that like you drink it, not only the glass is a giant, but you drink it and then they refill it for free. And I was eating pasta, and like the pasta plate was about 3 times the size than what you get in Israel. So everything looked so much bigger. And I also kind of figured out how hard it is to be vegan or vegetarian at the US, because I think living in Israel it's like so much easier and you kind of take it for granted most of the time. But when you visit another place and you realize almost nothing is vegan there, I think it kind of made me realize like how much this is good in Israel. Like this is like such a giant plus in living in Israel that I can easily find food that I can eat, because it was so much harder at the USA. They have like animal things in almost everything you eat, even the most weird things um like bread had some enzyme made out of goose feathers. So like I could not even eat bread in there. So that was so weird. And then we went back to the convention and people started showing up. And that was so amazing. I could meet uh, a lot of friends that I've always talked to, like like some streamers that I know, and Smirky that he's my friend for like a few years, and I was finally able to meet him, and a lot of new people that I didn't know before, but they were just so amazing. Like a lot of cute little kids and a lot of adults that are like so excited about the game, just like kids. And I felt like I'm building a much better bond with a community, with people, with my friends, and with complete strangers. And I want to thank so much to everyone who came there. Because I had so much fun meeting you guys. It was so amazing. And there were a lot of people who kind of recognized me, which was kind of surprising, even though I do get recognized in game, but it's like much weirder in real life. I did not really expect people to actually recognize me, especially when they've only seen like one selfie of me ever. So it was really weird when people actually knew who I am. And then we had this meet and greet thing, and the meet and greet was really shocking for me because well, first you have like Joey presenting all of the staff members, telling who they are, what they do for the team, and then people actually came and ask for signatures, like, hey, can you sign this for me? And that was so shocking. Like, why would anyone want a signature from me? You know, like, I think Joey told me before that people would probably ask me, and I was like, yeah, I don't think so. Like, why would anyone want that? But then there are like people coming to you and like little kids being like, can you sign my trading cards? And then they want you to sign like all of them, not just one of them. And the postcards and such. And that felt so weird. Like, I was really not expecting that. Like, I knew people were going to ask Joey for signatures, but it was really shocking when people actually asked me. And first day was kind of just being shocked about everything. And I think it was at the first evening when I went with Joey and his friends Sammy and Kelly, and with Luke and Nicole. We went to like take a walk uh near the river, and we stopped by something it's called a snow cone. So Sammy was buying me a snow cone, and that was the first time I ever tried anything like that, because we have slushies in Israel, but we don't have this thing where you like eat the slushie instead of drinking it. So it was like a little snow in a cup, and then you can add a taste to it. So I think I took grapes, and that was like it tasted just like a slushie, except you could eat it. But it was pretty cool because I was never eating a slushie. So that was pretty nice. And I think that was like the main things for the first day. The second day, I think one of the main things on the second day was meeting Kayla, which is she's the sister of little Blinky, who was my friend during the beginning of Toontown Rewritten, and he passed away from cancer. So you probably heard me talking about him before if you follow me. So I met his sister. She's my friend for a few years, and that was pretty awesome. And apparently they put an envelope in my bag when I didn't look, so I only found it the morning after. But I had so much fun meeting her. That was like one of the things I was mostly looking forward to. And then we had the first panel, which I asked not to be on any of the panels because I didn't really want to, because of my camera fear mainly. But then during the first panel, Joey was talking about some things, and then he asked some staff members to stand. And I was the first one that he asked to stand during the panel, and I didn't know that he's going to ask that. So I was all like watching the panel, and then suddenly he was like, hey Maya, can you stand for a moment? And then I was like, what? And I was standing. I had, I think, the most stupid face at the moment. I was all shocked, not understanding, because it's like you stand and then everyone are pointing cameras at you and clapping their hands for you. And I was so surprised by that. Like, I did not see that coming. Um, and then after the first panel, I've got someone named Liam coming to me, and he gave me this amazing drawing. I have to show you. Hold on. It was like I was so excited at this point. It's like a great, amazing drawing. I totally didn't see that coming. It was so adorable. I was almost crying when he gave me that. And I like gave him a hug and everything. And I think that getting that drawing was like one of the best parts. Because I was so shocked and excited for it. um, then we had the second panel, and I went to watch the fans panel with the streamers in it. And then we got to pie Joey, and I could actually pie him for real this time. So that was pretty fun. I think he got like 15 pies. And then Boo Boo, she took a cup of water and she did the level 2 squirt gag, if you know what I mean. She was like drinking a sip and then she spit it all over Joey. And that was one of the best moments. It was so funny. Because he was like, "Wait, are you going to spit on me?" And she was like, "Yes, yes, I am." And then she spit all over him. It was like a huge spit, like she was waiting her whole life to do that. And it was like amazing. Um, and second day we went to a restaurant called Olive Garden, and um, I'll show you a picture from the way to Olive Garden. But I'll just say, uh, don't try this at home, okay? I'm not going to explain too much. I'm just going to show the picture, and you understand whatever you understand from it. And just don't try it at home, okay? So we were going to eat dinner with Jeremy, which is pretty cool, like, because everyone are always talking about Jeremy's dinner, and you actually get to eat one with him in real life. So that was pretty funny. Don't try this at home though. Um, and it was like once again we got like free refills, giant glasses, free breadsticks, free salad, free soup. Everything was like, I don't know, everything was like giant and free. um, and that was pretty much the second convention day. The third one, we had a trivia. The third day was kind of short there. I've got a gift from Hooper, which is the guy who runs OMG Con. He gave me some things to go to the prize booth and get some free gifts from there, so that was pretty cute of him. What else? The day, like the third day, ended kind of shortly, so I felt like it wasn't enough. But I've got to meet Miranda. She was only coming on the third day, and I have this cute picture of her with Roxana. She was a pretty cool person, and she was so excited. That was so fun. And near the end, she was crying that it's ending, and I could really understand her at this point. Like I was kind of holding my tears, but I think for her, she would know that she will probably get to meet those people again next year. For me, it was like we're probably never going to meet again. So I was like so sad, and I could really understand how she felt like when this was ending. And then I've got to try virtual reality for the first time, which is the like I got to try the Toontown thing they had there. I have a recording I asked Aiden to record it for me, so I'm gonna upload this as a separate video in a few days once I get it. It was so cool. I don't think you can see that from the videos, but actually doing this, it's like you're standing in game. You're actually in Toon Hall, and you look around, you're in game because you don't see anything like from real life. When you put it, it's like you're actually in game right now. So you hear people talking, but you can't actually see them. And you put your hands in front of you, and they are like toon gloves. And you can take a teleport hole and put it on the floor and jump into it. And you're actually teleporting to a different location of the area. So that was like teleporting for real life. I don't think you can feel that from watching the video, but if you try that in real life, it's just so cool. I can't even explain. And then when you take off the glasses, you're like, where am I? Because you're suddenly in a whole different place. You're like back to Earth, and it feels so weird because you were like 1 second ago you were in a whole different location, and now you're back. So that was like, I hope you all got to try it if you were there because it was so amazing. And then we went with all of the staff members to a pizza restaurant, except I could not eat anything because the pizza had that enzyme in it, and the cheese was not vegetarian because it had a thing called rennet in it. So I was like not eating anything. But Roxana and Sam, they were taking care of me. They called the restaurant we were on the day before to order a meal for me, and then they took John's car and they drove all the way just to bring me food from there so that I won't be left without food. And I was really excited when I saw that because I was kind of expected to be left to take care of myself because that's usually how it is when I'm in big groups. I don't talk much, so I kind of disappear and turn into air, and I feel kind of invisible. But they were actually noticing me, and they helped me with it, and like it made me feel like, hey, they actually care, and that was like really touching. And then we went into one of the staff rooms and played some card game until we went to sleep. And then the last day when I had to go back was probably the most sad day because I had to say goodbye to people, and it was just so sad. I started crying, and like first I was trying to hold my tears, but then I realized that some of them they had to go to the post office and our taxi was already there, so I could not say goodbye to some of the staff members. So they talked to me on phone, and I think it was Jacob who said, "Hey, Slate, we won't be able to come and say goodbye." And then it was like it kind of crushed me when he said it because it was like I'm probably never going to see them again, and I don't even get a last hug. So I started like crying, and I don't know what happened after. I think someone told them that I was crying, or I don't know. And Roxana asked the taxi driver to wait a bit, so they were like running back so they can say goodbye. So I got to say goodbye in real life eventually. And that still didn't stop me from crying. I was like crying so hard. And then we were driving to the airport. I was with a few more staff members at this point, and everyone waved goodbye to us. And during the drive to the airport, I actually got to see the view of Kentucky and Indiana. I didn't take pictures because I was too stressed at the moment, but um, it looked just like in movies, like a lot of grass all over and white wooden fences, and the houses were like small with roofs, just like on The Sims, and mailboxes. They look just like the ones you see on The Sims and on the game and on TV. And I've never seen one of those in real life because we don't have mailboxes like that in here. So that was so cool because I always thought that that was like old things that don't exist anymore, but it actually is. Like people actually live like that. So that was so amazing. And then we went to the airport, and then I had to say goodbye to Roxana and Ziggy and York and Adam and Roxana's boyfriend. And I think that was the most, like, it was another very sad moment. And Roxana went with me, like, until the entrance to the terminal. And she gave me, like, a really huge hug. And I was so, like, I think she talked to me and I didn't even reply because I was too stressed instead and shocked to realize what's even going on. And I was just crying. And it was probably one of the best hugs I've got in there. And probably the most sad one. And then I left, and I had to do all the way back to Israel. And it was so sad. It was so sad. Um, and the flights back were terrible. I felt like I'm not breathing, like I'm gonna die or something. And it was a bit easier from the way to America. Like the way back was a bit shorter, and I was after everything, so it was a bit less hard. But it was still very terrible, and it made me think like I'm probably never going to be able to do that again. And when I came back, my mom said that I sound so happy about my adventures there. And like she'd probably never seen me that happy before. And she said that I have to find ways to go again. And I think if I'll ever want to do this again, I'll have to um I'll have to do it differently because the flights are just impossible for me. With my disability, it's just too painful and I'm not breathing. And I'm probably gonna have to like pay more money to get more leg space. And if I could get first class, it would probably be helping me a lot, but it costs like 3 times the price. So I could not afford it. Um but at least I will have to pay more for leg space. I will have to figure out how to get my own oxygen tank and try that. And I would have to probably take a break at Europe between the two big flights because I can't do that at the same day. So I would have to like take a whole night break in Madrid or somewhere else in Europe before I do the other flight. And that would cost like way more money. So like much more money. And I don't know if I will ever be able to afford doing something like that. But it would probably be the only way I could ever go again. So so we will see, because I was kind of thinking I'm never gonna see them again, but technically I was thinking I'm never gonna see them at all, and it still happened. So like, never say never. You know, things might change, and I might find ways to do this again. And that was pretty much it. I just realized I'm talking for like almost an hour. I only planned to talk for like a few minutes, so I'm really sorry it was that long. And that was pretty much it. I have a lot of things that I've brought with me from there. One of those things is codes that can give you a special item in game that I made. The codes are going to work after the next update. And I know a lot of you didn't get to go there, so I was bringing some extra codes to give some of you. And it will probably be like either a contest or a raffle or something that I'll figure out. But I'm gonna do that after, like, in a few more days probably, or in a week, because right now my body is pretty much dead. Like, I was sleeping for 17 hours the first day, for about 10 more hours the second day, and I'm still feeling like I can't move. Like, my body kind of crashed. I think I was putting too much on my body with those flights. And I also got sick when I came back, so it's gonna take me like a while to recover from all of this. But it was so worth it. So I'm so glad I made it. And I have so many great memories that I collected during those few days. So it was an amazing experience. And now I'm gonna share some videos and pictures from the time I had in there. So I'm sorry I talked too much, and I hope you like the pictures. I was filming a video, I didn't notice exactly.
Maya, I imagine you, for food, you're on your own.
Okay.
Are you able to take a picture of me, or do I have to wear my shirt?
I am currently recording a video, so they can like hear us talking right now.
Is it still recording? Right here.
I'm getting some good pictures, some candids. Can I get a picture of her taking?
You were not posting it anywhere though.
Maya's scared.
Overall, going to OMG Con this year was a great experience. I am very thankful that I've got to do it, and I'm very thankful for everyone who met me in there, even if you just said hello, everyone who made this happen, whether it was helping me or just organizing this in the first place, to the OMG Con staff and to the Toontown Rewritten staff. I had a great time being in there. I'm so glad I've got to do it. And I'm so glad I've got to meet so many of you. And I really, really hope I'll get to do it again someday. And for those of you who didn't get to go, I know how it feels like because that's how it was for me last year. And I have some, as I said earlier, I have some extra in-game codes and some extra trading cards and stickers and such, and I'm going to find ways to share those with some of you at the near future. So once I'm fully recovered, I'll probably figure out some way to give some of you the items and the codes that I have left. And I really hope that you will get to see it maybe next year or at least someday at the next few years. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this community and for those of you who were part of this convention. I hope you all had a good time, and I hope I'll get to see you again someday. Bye.